The energy around Lil Durk shifted overnight. One post, no caption, no smile, just fire in his eyes. Within minutes, the internet exploded. Something was wrong, something heavy, and all signs pointed toward one name that's been echoing in hip-hop for years, C Murda. With sentencing set for tomorrow, the culture is holding its breath. What about to happen could send ripples through the entire industry. But the real shock came when Durk finally spoke out. Not in a verse, not in a live, but in raw emotion. This wasn't a publicity move. It was pain. Real pain. For Durk, this story hits different. C Murda's case isn't just another courtroom headline. It's a reflection of everything he's lived through. The streets, the loss, the system that never forgets where you came from. He's seen how quickly the dream can turn into a charge, how the media can twist loyalty into guilt. C Murda's fate isn't just about one man. It's about a generation of artists fighting the same war, against the same system that built them up just to tear them down. And Durk's reaction? It's not just anger, it's exhaustion. The kind that comes from seeing too many real ones buried or locked away. Now, with the sentencing just hours away, the pressure is boiling. Social media is on fire. Fans are asking, what's the real story behind Durk's message? Why did he choose this moment to speak? Is there something bigger behind his silence all this time? Every post, every comment, every lyric is being dissected like a clue. Because when Lil Durk snaps, it's not random. It's a signal. And if history's taught us anything, it's that when Durk reacts, there's always more beneath the surface. This isn't just about justice. It's about legacy. It's about who the system decides to break and who decides to fight back. Tomorrow could rewrite everything. The internet moves fast, but pain travels slower. It lingers. It grows. And this week, hip-hop can feel it. A storm is forming, not in a studio, not in a diss track, but deep inside one of rap's most silent soldiers, Lil Durk. His post hit different. No words, just a look that said everything he didn't have to. Within minutes, social media lit up. What's going on with Durk? Why now? And then the truth came out. Tomorrow, C Murda faces sentencing. A moment decades in the making. A story drenched in controversy, loyalty, and injustice. And somehow, it's reopened a wound Durk thought had healed. To understand his reaction, you have to understand the connection. Not friendship, but experience. Both men came from environments where survival isn't promised. Both built empires from pain, only to have the system waiting at every turn, ready to snatch it all away. C Murda, once a powerful name in No Limit Records, represented what the streets could produce. Raw talent, real stories, and fearless authenticity. But his life flipped overnight when fame met fate. Charged, tried, and locked away. His name became another cautionary tale of how fast success can vanish when the system already has your name in red. And for Durk, that story hits deep. Because even with all his fame, money, and power, he's still haunted by the same fight. The same headlines. The same cycle of seeing brothers judged before they're even heard. He's been there, from losing King Von to facing his own legal battles. So when the news broke about C Murda's sentencing, something inside him cracked. This wasn't a rant. It wasn't clout. It was a message, a warning shot at a system that never forgives where you come from. Durk's silence over the past few weeks suddenly made sense. Every cryptic lyric, every post that fans tried to decode, it was all building up to this moment. Because for Durk, C Murda's story isn't just history, it's prophecy. It's a reflection of what could have been him, what still could be him if he ever lets his guard down. The reaction online was instant. Fans were split. Some said Durk was overreacting, that he was emotional, reckless. Others said he was the only one brave enough to say what every rapper's been thinking, but too scared to admit. Because in this industry, justice isn't just blind, it's biased. Durk's entire career has been a battle between loyalty and survival, between standing for something and staying free. And as C Murda's case resurfaces, that inner conflict is louder than ever. Every time Durk's seen someone he loves caught up in the system, It's like watching history repeat itself, just with different names, different cities, different hashtags. And maybe that's why his reaction cut so deep. It wasn't about C Murda alone. It was about every real one who never got a fair chance. You can feel in the tone of his voice when he speaks now, that mix of frustration and fatigue. Like a man who's seen too much and said too little for too long. The kind of silence that comes from knowing your success doesn't protect you from the streets that raised you, or the system that never stopped watching you. The sentencing tomorrow isn't just a verdict for C Murda, it's a symbol. A reminder that no matter how far hip-hop travels, the roots are still chained to the same pain. And Durk? He's not letting it slide this time. He's tired of pretending the game's fair. He's tired of watching history repeat while the world moves on to the next scandal, the next headline, the next tragedy. His reaction is more than emotion, it's rebellion. Because for Lil Durk, speaking up isn't about attention, it's about accountability. And this time, his message is simple. The culture can't stay silent anymore. Within hours, Lil Durk's post turned into a wildfire. Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. The entire internet went into panic mode. Bloggers were digging for clues, fans were dropping theories, and news outlets were already twisting the story into something bigger than it was. But this wasn't a publicity stunt. This was frustration spilling over after years of watching the system do the same thing over and over again. Durk's reaction wasn't just a cry for attention. It was a breaking point. Because when someone like Durk, who rarely shows emotion publicly, snaps like that, it means he's had enough. Enough of the fake narratives. Enough of the injustice. Enough of seeing rappers treated like criminals before they're even heard. And this time, the world listened. Within 24 hours, Durk's post had over 1 million shares. Celebrities started weighing in. Some supported him, calling it a brave moment. Others stayed quiet, afraid of saying the wrong thing in a culture where every word can be used against you. But the silence spoke louder than words. Behind the scenes, record labels and executives started calling their artists, warning them not to get involved, not to post, not to speak. Because C Murda's case wasn't just controversial, it was political. It touched on race, reputation, and the dangerous line between fame and the streets. And Durk had just crossed that line publicly. That's when the media stepped in, twisting everything. They started framing his outburst as unstable, reckless, dangerous. The same narrative they always use when an artist speaks truth. Suddenly, headlines weren't about justice, they were about Durk himself. His past, his cases, his image. But Durk stayed quiet. No live stream, no clarifications. Just silence, again. Because silence hurts louder than explanations. Meanwhile, fans started flooding his old tracks, trying to find hidden meanings. Lines that once sounded like random bars now hit different. They want to see me fall like they did bro. System want me locked like I'm guilty. By design, it was all there. The pain, the prophecy, the paranoia. People realized this wasn't just reaction. This was revelation. As the clock ticked closer to C Murda's sentencing, the tension only got thicker. Durk's team refused to comment. His inner circle went completely off the grid. But insiders whispered that he was furious. Not just about C Murda, but about how the system plays favorites. How some artists get protection while others get punishment for simply being real. The streets understood exactly what he meant. Because this wasn't new. It was just another chapter in the same story. Every generation of hip-hop has had its martyr. Tupac, Meek Mill, Young Thug, names that turned from rappers into symbols. Symbols of how easily the system can twist success into suspicion. And Durk knows that cycle better than anyone. He's seen it up close, from courtroom seats to funerals. He's watched brothers get taken down not because they were guilty, but because they were targets. Because they came from where they weren't supposed to make it out. And now, with C Murda's sentencing only hours away, Durk's silence feels heavier than words. It's not about clout. It's about calling out a pattern. About saying, without saying, we've been here before, and it's happening again. The pressure online turned insane. Hashtags like hashtag #FreeCMurda and hashtag DurkSpeaksTruth started trending. Supporters flooded timelines, demanding fairness, while critics mocked him, claiming he was defending criminals. But they missed the point entirely. Durk wasn't defending crime. He was defending humanity. He was defending the people the system stopped listening to a long time ago. In his eyes, C Murda represented every young black artist who made it out only to get dragged back into the same system they tried to escape. And the timing made it all worse. Durk had just dropped one of the most successful runs of his career. Endorsements, tours, features, he was at his peak. And yet, at the height of his fame, he couldn't stay silent anymore. That says everything. He knew speaking up could cost him deals, respect, maybe even safety. But the truth always costs something. And Durk? He was done paying in silence. The countdown to sentencing had begun. Fans were glued to screens, waiting for updates. But deep inside the industry, something had already changed. Durk's reaction broke the unspoken rule. The one that says, stay quiet if you want to stay successful. He didn't care. He chose truth over peace. And now, the whole world was watching. The morning of the sentencing hit like a storm. News outlets lined up outside the courthouse. Cameras flashed, fans screamed, and the air felt heavy with expectation. C Murda's name was everywhere, trending on every platform, every conversation. But somewhere far from the chaos, Lil Durk was silent. No posts, no stories, no cryptic captions, just silence. The kind that makes everyone nervous because it means something's coming. At 9:47 a.m., the official verdict dropped. C Murda's appeal was denied. Sentencing confirmed. The room went cold. His family broke down. Reporters started typing. And within seconds, C Murda and Lil Durk were trending side by side. Because everyone remembered that emotional message Durk posted. Now, that post hit different. It felt like prophecy. The internet exploded. Fans were furious, saying the justice system had failed again. Old interviews resurfaced, showing how long C Murda had been fighting this battle, claiming innocence, demanding a fair trial, and calling out corruption. And right in the center of all that noise stood Lil Durk. Every blogger, every vlogger, every news page wanted to know, what would he say now? But Durk didn't rush to speak. He waited. He watched. Then, that night, just hours after the verdict, he finally broke his silence. On Instagram Live. No fancy setup. No lighting. Just Durk in a hoodie sitting in the dark. His tone was calm. Too calm. He said, they don't want to hear truth from people like us. They call it rage. They call it crazy. But it's pain. Real pain. What happened to C Murda can happen to anybody trying to make it out. You can win Grammys and still lose your freedom. That single live session changed everything. Because Durk didn't just talk about C Murda. He connected it to everyone who's been through that system. He talked about how fame doesn't erase your past in their eyes. How black success is often seen as temporary. How one mistake becomes your whole identity. The comments went insane. Celebrities joined the chat. Meek Mill, 21 Savage, even Boozy dropped support emojis. It wasn't just a live, it was a movement. Within an hour, clips from that live spread across TikTok, YouTube Shorts, and X Twitter. Durk speaking facts became the new trend. Even non-hip-hop pages were reposting it. Political commentators, podcast hosts, everyone had something to say. But with that attention came backlash. Certain outlets started attacking his credibility. Some claimed he was glorifying convicts. Others tried to frame it as a publicity stunt ahead of his rumored new album. Durk didn't reply. He let the world argue. Because this wasn't about feeding the media. It was about feeding truth to the people who still believe the system could be fair. And quietly, something powerful started happening. Rappers from across generations began to unite. Older legends spoke out, saying they'd been through the same injustice for decades. Younger artists shared stories of being profiled, searched, and harassed, not for crimes, but for their image. It was like the entire hip-hop community suddenly realized, this isn't one man's fight. It's our story. Then, a leaked document dropped online, an old affidavit from the C Murda case that raised serious questions about witness tampering and evidence manipulation. Nobody knew who leaked it, but the timing was too perfect. The public started doubting the verdict. Fans flooded comment sections demanding retrial. Petitions hit hundreds of thousands of signatures overnight. And every time someone mentioned justice for C Murda, Durk's name came with it, because he lit the match that started the fire. Behind closed doors, though, there was tension. Executives called Durk's team, warning that his stance could affect business relationships. Brand deals froze. Some sponsors quietly backed away. But Durk didn't care. He even tweeted late that night, "If speaking truth costs me deals, then I'm richer than money can buy." That tweet hit millions. Fans quoted it, printed it, turned it into artwork, even tattoos. It wasn't just words, it was a message. For years, Durk had been seen as the voice of the streets. But now he was becoming something bigger, a voice of resistance, of awareness, of accountability. The sentencing might have been official, but the story wasn't over. Because now, thanks to Durk, people were finally questioning the system that put C Murda away, and how many more might have been silenced the same way. And the craziest part? Insiders started whispering that C Murda himself had gotten word about Durk's support from inside. Rumor had it, he sent back a message. A voice note, a few words that would flip everything. But that message wouldn't stay private for long. The internet was already in flames. But what happened next took everything to another level. 2 days after C Murda's sentencing, a clip started circulating online. A short, grainy audio, just 30 seconds long. No official confirmation, no source, but the voice? The internet recognized it instantly. It was C Murda. The message was raw, echoing through static and distance. "Tell Durk, I heard him. Tell him to keep speaking for us. They can cage a man, but they can't cage a voice." That was it. 30 seconds. But that small message hit harder than any verse. Within hours, it spread across every platform: TikTok, X, Instagram, even mainstream news outlets. Nobody knew how it got out or who leaked it, but everyone knew what it meant. C Murda wasn't silent anymore. And Lil Durk? He heard it too. At first, Durk didn't respond publicly, but sources close to him said he listened to that clip over and over again. One of his friends posted a cryptic story. Sometimes a man hears something that changes his whole vision. And soon enough, Durk disappeared again. No posts, no lives, no public appearances, just silence. But this time, fans could feel it. He was working on something. Something personal, something heavy. Behind the scenes, Rap Shock sources confirmed that Durk had locked himself in the studio for 3 straight days. No features, no distractions, just pain and a mic. And when that track finally dropped, it wasn't what anyone expected. No hooks, no cachicores, just 3 minutes of pure storytelling. A raw freestyle dedicated to C Murda, to injustice, and to every artist who got caught in the system's shadow. He rapped, "They paint us villains when we victims of the plan. Turn our lyrics to confession, then they throw away our fans. See, say he heard me. I felt that through the bars. They can lock the body, but they can't contain the scars." That song hit #1 on YouTube within hours. And guess who uploaded it first? Zap Shop. We were there before the mainstream even caught on. Our coverage broke the news, and fans worldwide flooded the comments. This isn't just music, it's a movement. This is the Durk the world needed to hear. This is history. But as always, with truth came controversy. Law enforcement agencies reportedly weren't happy. Some media outlets claimed Durk was glorifying convicted criminals. Others went deeper, hinting that his lyrics might interfere with ongoing investigations around the C Murda case. Durk's team stayed quiet, but insiders told Rap Shock something bigger was happening behind closed doors. Attorneys linked to C Murda's legal defense had reached out, thanking Durk for bringing new light to the case. It wasn't official, but whispers began. Could Durk's influence actually reopen discussions about reform, or even push for new evidence to be reviewed? And that's when the internet went full detective mode. Clips, documents, case notes. Fans started digging deeper into C Murda's file, posting new findings daily. What they uncovered wasn't just shocking, it was chilling. Inconsistencies in witness statements, missing reports, overlooked footage, things that never should have slipped through a fair trial. It was like a modern-day digital protest, led not by lawyers but by fans. And it all sparked from Durk's voice. By the fifth day, hashtags like hashtag Justice for C Murda and hashtag Durk Speaks Truth were everywhere. Celebrities joined in. Artists, athletes, even activists outside of hip-hop. Durk's music wasn't just trending. It was transforming into a social statement. But with every movement comes a shadow. And soon, anonymous accounts began posting cryptic warnings under Rapshock's uploads. Stop digging. Some stories aren't meant to be told. You're next. It was eerie, but we didn't stop. Because this story wasn't just about fame. It was about truth. And the truth was starting to scare people. Meanwhile, Durk was planning something even more explosive, a live documentary performance dedicated to those the system forgot. Sources revealed it would feature real testimonies from families affected by wrongful convictions, intercut with his music. That was when everyone realized this wasn't just about C Murda anymore. This was about all the forgotten names. The industry could sense a storm coming. Executives started scrambling. PR teams were calling meetings. Even label reps were divided. Should they back Durk's message or stay out of controversy? But one thing was certain, there was no going back. Because once you give the streets a voice, silence is no longer an option. And Rapshock was right in the middle of it, documenting every twist, every reaction, every truth the mainstream avoided. The story was far from over. Because when a man like Lil Durk speaks from the heart, he doesn't just shake the industry, he rewrites it. And what came next would shock even his biggest supporters. The night of the documentary arrived. Dark stage. One mic, one spotlight. No dancers, no effects, just Lil Durk standing in front of a giant screen showing clips of headlines, mugshots, and families crying for justice. The crowd was silent. Not because they didn't care, but because they felt it. The kind of silence that comes before something unforgettable. Durk looked straight into the camera and said, "They could take everything from us, money, fame, even our freedom, but they can't take our truth. This one's for C Murda and every name they buried in paperwork." The beat dropped, slow, haunting, heavy with emotion. Each verse told a story. Names, faces, people who never got a second chance. Behind him, the visuals flickered. C Murda in his younger days, courtroom sketches, Durk's own mugshots, and the streets that made him. And then came a moment no one saw coming. Right before the final verse, the lights dimmed, and the screen lit up with a single phrase. In collaboration with Rapshock, the streets speak back. That's when the message became clear. This wasn't just Durk's story anymore. It was ours. Rapshock had been documenting every moment of this movement. From Durk's first emotional live to the leaked voice note and the online revolution that followed. We weren't just watching history, we were part of it. The channel that started with breaking hip-hop news was now the bridge between the culture and the truth. And Durk knew it. Halfway through the show, he shouted us out. Shout out Rapshock. Y'all kept the story alive when the world tried to silence it. This ain't news, this is real life. The crowd roared. For a moment, it felt like the industry's walls were breaking down. Artists, fans, journalists all standing on the same side. The performance turned into a movement. Clips flooded online within minutes. Every major outlet scrambling to post their own version of what just happened. But everyone knew the real story was already live on Rapshock. That same night, the channel hit record-breaking numbers. Millions tuned in to see the raw, uncut footage. Durk's message, the testimonies, and the behind-the-scenes reality no one else dared to show. We didn't just report the story, we carried it. The next morning, something incredible happened. C Murda's legal team officially announced a motion for review, citing new public evidence and testimony relevance. They didn't name names, but everyone knew what sparked it. Durk's documentary, the fan-led research, the pressure from the culture. This wasn't coincidence. This was hip-hop changing history in real time. And yet, Durk didn't celebrate. He posted one final story, black screen, white text. It's not about winning. It's about not letting them forget. Those words echoed everywhere. Podcasts, interviews, blogs. Everyone was talking about how hip-hop was reclaiming its power. For years, the industry tried to silence the voices that came from pain. But now, through Rap Shock, through Durk, through every fan who refused to scroll past, the streets had found a platform. And just like that, Rap Shock wasn't just a channel anymore. It became a symbol of resistance, a home for truth, a voice for the unheard. We didn't create the movement, we amplified it. Because when Lil Durk snapped, the world listened. When C Murda spoke, the world remembered. And when Rap Shock told their story, the world woke up. Now, every time someone searches Durk, C Murda, or justice in hip-hop, they don't just find a song, they find a message. A message born in pain, carried by courage, and delivered through one channel that refused to stay silent. As the final credits rolled on the documentary, the last words appeared on screen, words that defined everything. For the culture, for the truth, for those who never got the mic. This is Rap Shock, where the story doesn't end, it begins. This isn't just another story. This is the heartbeat of the culture, raw, unfiltered, and straight from the streets. At Rap Shock, we don't chase clicks, we chase truth. From Lil Durk's pain to C Murda's fight for justice, we bring you the voices that the industry tries to silence. If you're tired of fake headlines and watered-down narratives, you're in the right place. Here, every drop hits harder, every truth cuts deeper, and every story reminds you what hip-hop really stands for: loyalty, struggle, and survival. So hit subscribe, smash that notification bell, and join the Rap Shock movement, where we expose the real, honor the fallen, and amplify the unheard. Stay loyal, stay loud, stay real. This is Rap Shock, where the culture speaks and the world listens. Fire.